Question 1. A title insurance agent is reviewing a title search for a property that has multiple recorded easements, including utility and access easements. How should the title insurance policy address these easements to protect the interests of both the owner and lender? A. Exclude all easements from coverage to avoid any risk to the insurer. B. Include coverage for the easements as long as they do not affect the marketability of the property. C. Include coverage for all easements even if they impact the property value. D. Exclude all utility easements but include access easements in the policy. Answer. B. Explanation. Easements are common in real estate and often do not pose a significant risk to the marketability of a property, especially utility easements. Title insurance typically excludes easements that do not negatively affect the value or usability of the property. However, if an easement does impact the property's marketability or restricts its use, it may need special consideration or be covered by an endorsement. Mississippi law also typically addresses easements in the same manner, and title insurance companies use endorsements to offer coverage for certain easements, particularly if they do not pose a financial risk. Relevant rule. Mississippi title insurance policies often use ALTA endorsements to address issues related to easements and other exceptions from coverage. The inclusion of these easements must be carefully assessed during underwriting to determine any potential impacts on the title. Question 2 scenario. Mr. White is purchasing a rural property in Mississippi, and during the title search, a recorded oil and gas lease from 20 years ago is discovered. Mr. White is concerned that drilling activities could disrupt his plans to develop the land for agricultural use. What should Mr. White and his title insurance agent do to address this situation? A. Ignore the lease as it is too old to be enforced. B. Add an endorsement to the title insurance policy to exclude mineral rights issues. C. Investigate whether the lease is still valid and potentially negotiate with the mineral rights holder. D. Assume the lease is no longer relevant as there have been no recent drilling activities. Answer. See explanation. Mineral rights, including oil and gas leases, can continue to affect land long after their creation. In Mississippi, mineral rights are often severed from surface rights, which means that an old lease could still be valid. Mr. White should not ignore the lease. Instead, his title insurance agent should investigate whether the lease remains valid and active. If it is, Mr. White may need to negotiate with the mineral rights holder to limit or restrict drilling activities on the surface of his property. This is a critical step to protect his intended agricultural use of the land. Relevant rule. Mississippi recognizes the severance of mineral rights, which means surface and mineral rights can be held by different parties. Title insurance does not automatically cover mineral rights issues, so an endorsement may be required if Mr. White wants additional protection. Question 3. During the closing process for a real estate transaction in Mississippi, the title insurance agent discovers an unrecorded mechanics lien filed by a contractor who performed work on the property but did not receive payment. How should the agent handle this issue? A. Proceed with the closing, as unrecorded liens are not covered by title insurance. B. Exclude the lien from the title insurance policy and proceed with the closing. C. Delay the closing until the lien is resolved or satisfied, ensuring clear title. D. Issue the title insurance policy with an exception for the unrecorded lien. Answer. C. Explanation. An unrecorded mechanics lien can pose a significant risk to the title and may result in a financial loss for the buyer if not addressed before closing. The title insurance agent must ensure that the lien is either paid off or legally resolved before issuing a clear title. In Mississippi, mechanics liens have priority over many other claims if they are properly filed within the required time frame. Therefore, proceeding with the closing without resolving the lien could leave the buyer or lender exposed to a claim. Relevant rule. Under Mississippi lien laws, contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers may file mechanics liens on properties for unpaid work. These liens can affect title, and a title insurance company will typically refuse to issue a policy until the lien is satisfied or legally removed. Question 4. A title search reveals a judgment lien recorded against the property's previous owner in Mississippi. What should the title insurance agent do to ensure clear title for the current buyer? A. Ignore the lien since it is against the previous owner and not the current buyer. B. Investigate whether the lien is still enforceable and, if so, have it paid off or satisfied before issuing the policy. C. Proceed with the closing and include an exception for the lien in the title insurance policy. D. Remove the lien from the title report as it is not relevant to the current transaction. Answer. B. Explanation. Judgment liens in Mississippi can attach to real property and survive transfers of ownership if not satisfied. A thorough title search and investigation are essential to ensure that any liens or judgments against previous owners do not affect the current buyer. The title insurance agent should ensure that the judgment lien is either satisfied or released before the issuance of the title insurance policy. This protects the buyer from future claims arising from the lien. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, judgment liens can attach to all real property owned by the debtor and can remain enforceable for up to 7 years from the date of judgment. If not cleared, they can affect the title for future owners. Question 5. Scenario. M.S. Lopez is purchasing a home in Mississippi, and during the title examination, a discrepancy is discovered between the property's legal description in the recorded deed and the current boundary survey. The boundary lines differ by several feet. How should this issue be addressed? A. Ignore the discrepancy as it is minor and unlikely to cause any problems. B. Include an exception for the boundary discrepancy in the title insurance policy. C. Investigate the discrepancy further and, if necessary, resolve it before issuing the policy. D. Issue the policy without making any changes, assuming it is not a serious concern. Answer. C. Explanation. Discrepancies between legal descriptions and boundary surveys can create significant title issues, including boundary disputes and encroachments. In this case, M.S. Lopez's title insurance agent should investigate the source of the discrepancies, such as errors in the deed or survey. It may be necessary to work with a surveyor, neighbor, or attorney to resolve the issue before issuing a title insurance policy. Failing to do so could leave M.S. Lopez vulnerable to future legal challenges. Relevant rule. Mississippi's survey and legal description standards require accurate property descriptions for clear title. Title insurance policies will not automatically cover discrepancies unless they are properly resolved or exceptions are made in the policy with specific endorsements. Question 6. A Mississippi title insurance policy is being issued for a commercial property and the lender requests additional coverage for zoning compliance. What type of endorsement should be issued to provide this coverage? A. An ALTA zoning endorsement 3.1. B. An ALTA mineral rights endorsement. C. A survey endorsement. D. A taxion endorsement. Answer. A. Explanation. The ALTA zoning endorsement 3.1 provides coverage to the insured lender regarding the zoning classification of the property and its compliance with applicable zoning laws. This endorsement ensures that the property complies with zoning requirements for the lender's intended use. This is particularly important for commercial properties, where zoning issues can have significant financial implications if the property is not used in accordance with local zoning laws. Relevant rule. Zoning issues in Mississippi are handled by local authorities, and lenders often require zoning endorsements to mitigate risks related to non-compliance. This endorsement protects the lender's investment by ensuring the property complies with its designated zoning. Question 7. What is the primary function of the title commitment in a Mississippi real estate transaction? A. It is a guarantee of clear title by the title company. B. It provides the terms and conditions under which the title company will issue a title insurance policy. C. It transfers ownership of the property to the buyer. D. It lists the terms of the mortgage agreement between the buyer and lender. Answer. B. Explanation. The title commitment outlines the terms and conditions under which the title insurance company will issue a title policy. It lists any exceptions, exclusions, and requirements that must be met before issuing the final policy, such as clearing liens or resolving title defects. The title commitment is not a guarantee of clear title, but a promise by the title company to ensure the title under specific conditions. This is a critical document in Mississippi real estate transactions to ensure all title issues are addressed before closing. Relevant rule. According to Mississippi law, the title commitment is a contract between the insurer and the insured, buyer and lender, detailing the scope of the title insurance policy and any conditions that need to be satisfied before the policy is issued. Question 8 scenario. Mr. Johnson is buying a piece of rural land in Mississippi, and during the title search, a previously unrecorded access easement for a neighboring property is discovered. Mr. Johnson is concerned that the easement might limit his use of the property. How should the title insurance agent handle this issue? A. Exclude the easement from the policy to protect the insurer from potential liability. B. Investigate the easement and ensure it is legally recorded, then include it in the title policy with a proper endorsement. C. Ignore the easement as it has not been recorded. D. Proceed with the closing, assuming the easement is no longer valid due to its lack of recording. Answer. B. Explanation. Unrecorded easements can pose significant risks to a property's use and value. In this case, the title insurance agent should investigate the easement, ensure it is properly recorded, and address it in the title insurance policy. The agent may also recommend an endorsement to cover any risks associated with the easement. Simply ignoring the easement could expose Mr. Johnson to future legal issues with his neighbor regarding access rights. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, easements can be valid even if unrecorded, especially if they have been used openly and continuously. Recording the easement ensures its legal recognition and allows for proper handling in the title policy. Question 9. In a Mississippi real estate transaction, if a buyer discovers after closing that there is a tax lien on the property, what recourse does the buyer have under their title insurance policy? A. The title insurance company is obligated to clear the lien or pay damages to the buyer. B. The buyer must clear the lien themselves as it is excluded from title insurance coverage. C. The lender is responsible for clearing the lien as they hold a security interest in the property. D. The buyer can seek a reduction in property taxes as compensation for the lien. Answer A. Explanation. A properly issued title insurance policy typically covers tax liens unless they were specifically excluded in the policy. If a tax lien is discovered after closing, the title insurance company is obligated to either clear the lien or compensate the buyer for damages. This protection is essential in cases where tax liens were not uncovered during the title search, as such liens can have significant financial implications for the buyer. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, tax liens can attach to real property for unpaid taxes. Title insurance policies usually protect buyers from undisclosed tax liens, ensuring that the buyer is not held liable for such claims after closing. Question 10. A lender requests additional coverage for survey-related issues in a Mississippi title insurance policy. Which of the following endorsements would be most appropriate? A. ALTA 9 endorsement, restrictions or encroachments minerals. B. ALTA 22 endorsement, location. C. ALTA 14 endorsement, future advance. D. ALTA 6 endorsement, variable rate mortgage. Answer B. Explanation. The ALTA 22 endorsement, location, is commonly used to provide coverage for survey-related issues such as the correct location of the property according to the survey. This endorsement is appropriate when the lender wants assurance that the property boundaries and improvements are accurately depicted and are free from encroachments or other survey-related issues. Survey coverage is critical for protecting the lender's and buyer's interests, particularly in cases where boundary disputes or encroachments could arise. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, survey endorsements are important when discrepancies between surveys and recorded legal descriptions exist. The ALTA 22 endorsement ensures that such issues are covered, protecting the lender from potential boundary disputes. Question 11. In Mississippi, a lender requests an endorsement to provide coverage for future improvements on a property. Which endorsement should be added to the title policy? A. ALTA 10.1 endorsement, assignment of rents. B. ALTA 13.1 endorsement, leasehold, owner's coverage. C. ALTA 12.1 endorsement, future advance. D. ALTA 14.1 endorsement, future advance. Priority. Answer D. Explanation. The ALTA 14.1 endorsement provides coverage for future advances and ensures that any subsequent disbursements under a construction loan or revolving line of credit retain the same priority as the initial disbursement. This is particularly useful in construction projects where funding occurs in stages. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, future advance mortgages allow for additional funds to be advanced under the terms of the original mortgage agreement, and this endorsement ensures that priority of future advances remains protected. Question 12. A Mississippi property is found to have an existing oil and gas lease that was not disclosed during the original title search. How should the title insurer handle this? They add an exception to the title policy for the oil and gas lease. B. Investigate the lease and determine its current validity before issuing a policy. C. Ignore the lease as it does not affect surface rights. D. Immediately void the policy. Answer B. Explanation. The title insurer should investigate the oil and gas lease to determine if it is still valid and if it impacts the surface rights of the property. Based on the investigation, they can decide whether to include coverage for the lease or add an exception in the policy. Relevant rule. Mississippi allows oil and gas leases to separate surface and mineral rights. These leases can have significant implications on property use and proper due diligence is required. Question 13. What is the maximum time period that a judgment lien can attach to property in Mississippi? A. 3 years. B. 5 years. C. 7 years. D. 10 years. Answer. C. Explanation. In Mississippi, a judgment lien can attach to a debtor's property for up to 7 years from the date of the judgment. If not satisfied or renewed, it will expire after this period. A relevant rule. Mississippi law allows judgment creditors to file liens on a debtor's property affecting the ability to sell or transfer title unless the lien is satisfied or released. Question 14. A Mississippi title policy is issued with an exception for restrictive covenants. What does this exception mean for the insured? A. The title company guarantees that the property complies with all restrictive covenants. B. The title company will not cover losses related to violations of the restrictive covenants. C. The title company will pay for any improvements needed to comply with restrictive covenants. D. The restrictive covenants will be nullified. Answer. B. Explanation. An exception for restrictive covenants in a title policy means that the title insurance company will not cover any losses or legal issues that arise from violations of those covenants. The property owner is responsible for ensuring compliance. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, restrictive covenants can limit how a property is used or developed, and title policies often include exceptions for these covenants to protect the insurer from liability. Question 15 scenario. Mr. and Mrs. Carter are buying a home in Mississippi, but a title search reveals that the seller's previous mortgage was not properly released. What should the title agent do before issuing the final title insurance policy? A. Ignore the unresolved mortgage since it belongs to the seller. B. Issue the title policy with an exception for the unresolved mortgage. C. Contact the lender to ensure a proper release is filed and recorded. D. Proceed with closing and resolve the issue afterward. Answer. C. Explanation. The title agent should contact the previous lender to ensure that the mortgage is properly released and recorded before issuing the final title insurance policy. This protects the buyer from any claims or encumbrances related to the seller's mortgage. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, lenders must file a satisfaction of mortgage with the county clerk's office when a mortgage is paid off. Failure to do so can cloud the title and delay property transactions. Question 16. In Mississippi, which type of deed is most commonly used in residential real estate transactions to convey property? A. Quitclaim deed. B. General warranty deed. C. Bargain and sale deed. D. Special warranty deed. Answer. B. Explanation. A general warranty deed is the most common type of deed used in Mississippi residential real estate transactions. It provides the highest level of protection for the buyer as the seller guarantees that they have clear title and will defend against any claims arising from the property's history. A relevant rule. Mississippi law recognizes the general warranty deed as a full conveyance of property, offering protection to buyers from defects in the title whether they occurred during or before the seller's ownership. Question 17. A Mississippi buyer is concerned about potential encroachments on their new property. Which of the following endorsements would provide additional coverage for this issue? A. ALTA 9 endorsement, restrictions, encroachments, minerals. B. ALTA 10.1 endorsement, assignment of rents. C. ALTA 22 endorsement, location. D. ALTA 6 endorsement, variable rate mortgage. Answer A. Explanation. The ALTA 9 endorsement provides coverage for matters related to encroachments, violations of restrictive covenants, and mineral rights. This endorsement protects the insured from losses due to encroachments onto or from neighboring properties. Relevant rule. Mississippi property owners can be affected by encroachments where structures cross property boundaries. This endorsement helps mitigate those risks. Question 18. Which of the following issues is not typically covered by a standard title insurance policy in Mississippi? A. Fraud or forgery affecting the title. B. Unpaid property taxes. C. Defects or encumbrances discovered after the policy is issued. D. Zoning violations. Answer. D. Explanation. Zoning violations are not typically covered by standard title insurance policies. Title insurance covers defects in title such as fraud, forgery, or unpaid taxes, but issues related to zoning compliance must be addressed through other means such as obtaining zoning endorsements or permits. Relevant rule. Zoning issues in Mississippi are regulated by local governments, and title insurance does not cover zoning violations unless specific endorsements are added. Question 19. A title search in Mississippi reveals a recorded easement allowing a utility company to access a portion of a property. How does this affect the title insurance policy? A. The easement must be terminated before issuing the policy. B. The policy will include an exception for the easement. C. The easement will automatically be insured. D. The title insurance policy will cover any damages caused by the utility company. Answer. B. Explanation. A title insurance policy will include an exception for a recorded easement, meaning that any claims or disputes arising from the easement are not covered by the policy. The property owner will be responsible for managing any issues related to the easement. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, utility easements are common, and they grant certain rights to utility companies to access and maintain their infrastructure on private property. Title insurance policies will typically accept these easements from coverage. Question 20 scenario. During the title search for a Mississippi property, an unrecorded mechanics lien is discovered. The seller claims the debt has been paid. What steps should the title agent take? A. Ignore the lien as it was unrecorded. B. Require the seller to provide proof of payment and ensure the lien is released before issuing the policy. C. Issue the policy with an exception for the unrecorded lien. D. Proceed with closing and handle the lien afterward. Answer. B. Explanation. The title agent should require the seller to provide proof of payment and ensure the lien is properly released before issuing the title insurance policy. This protects the buyer and lender from potential claims against the property after closing. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, mechanics liens can be filed against a property by contractors or suppliers who have not been paid for work done on the property. Ensuring proper lien releases is essential to clear title. Question 21. A Mississippi homeowner discovers that their property is subject to a previously undisclosed right-of-way easement. What should the title insurer do? A. Issue a new title policy excluding the easement. B. Cancel the existing policy and issue a refund. C. Cover the loss under the existing title policy. D. Deny any coverage related to the easement. Answer. C. Explanation. If the right-of-way easement was undisclosed at the time the policy was issued, it represents a title defect, and the title insurer should cover the loss or negotiate a settlement under the terms of the policy. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, title insurance protects homeowners from undisclosed easements, as these can affect property use and reduce its value. Title insurers must cover losses if they miss the easement during the initial search. Question 22. In Mississippi, what is the effect of a lis pendens recorded against the property? A. It immediately transfers ownership of the property to the claimant. B. It prevents the property from being sold or transferred. C. It makes the property subject to additional taxes. D. It creates a cloud on the title until the legal matter is resolved. Answer. D. Explanation. A lis pendens creates a cloud on the title, alerting potential buyers or lenders that there is a pending lawsuit involving the property. It does not prevent the sale or transfer of the property, but serves as a warning. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, a lis pendens is filed in connection with legal disputes over real estate, and it can affect a buyer's or lender's willingness to proceed with a transaction. Question 23. A Mississippi lender requires a borrower to purchase title insurance for a new loan. What is the primary purpose of a lender's title policy? A. To protect the borrower's equity in the property. B. To ensure the property is free from all defects and encumbrances. C. To protect the lender's interest in the property if the borrower defaults. D. To guarantee the property's market value. Answer. C. Explanation. A lender's title policy primarily protects the lender's interest in the property by ensuring that the loan is secured by a clear, marketable title. If the borrower defaults, the lender is protected against losses resulting from defects in the title. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, lenders often require title insurance to protect their investment, while borrowers may opt for an owner's policy to protect their equity. Question 24. Which of the following is not typically a risk covered by a standard owner's title insurance policy in Mississippi? A. Fraud or forgery in past deeds. B. Unpaid property taxes or assessments. C. Zoning law violations. D. Encumbrances unknown at the time of purchase. Answer. C. Explanation. Zoning law violations are generally not covered by standard title insurance policies. Title insurance covers defects in the ownership of the property, such as fraud, unpaid taxes, or unknown encumbrances. A relevant rule. Mississippi property owners must ensure compliance with local zoning laws, as title insurance does not cover zoning issues unless additional endorsements are added. Question 25. A buyer in Mississippi wishes to purchase a foreclosed property. What unique risk might the buyer face that requires special attention during the title search? A. The property may have unpaid federal tax liens. B. The property could be subject to local zoning changes. C. The property might be located in a flood zone. D. The prior owner's mortgage might still be enforceable. Answer A. Explanation. Foreclosed properties may have unpaid federal tax liens, which are not extinguished in a foreclosure sale. Special attention must be paid to ensure that no such liens exist or that they are satisfied before purchase. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, federal tax liens take priority over many other liens and encumbrances, even in foreclosure situations. Buyers need to ensure these liens are addressed before closing. Question 26 scenario. While conducting a title search for a Mississippi property, a title agent discovers a discrepancy in the property boundaries between the current deed and the surveyor's report. What should the agent do next? A. Proceed with closing, assuming the discrepancy will resolve itself. B. Recommend a boundary line agreement between the neighboring owners. C. Remove coverage for boundary disputes from the title policy. D. Contact local authorities to resurvey the entire area. Correct answer. B. Explanation. In cases of boundary discrepancies, a boundary line agreement between neighboring property owners can resolve the issue without resorting to litigation. This agreement ensures clarity in property ownership and eliminates the dispute. Relevant rule. Boundary disputes in Mississippi can create clouds on the title, and resolving these disputes through agreements helps ensure the title is clear for the buyer and lender. Question 27. How long is the statutory redemption period for homeowners in Mississippi who have lost their property through a tax sale? A. 6 months. B. 1 year. C. 18 months. D. 2 years. Answer B. Explanation. Mississippi homeowners have 1 year from the date of a tax sale to redeem their property by paying the outstanding taxes, penalties, and interest. During this redemption period, the homeowner can reclaim the property. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, tax sales provide a statutory redemption period, giving homeowners the right to recover their property after the tax sale. Question 28. A Mississippi title insurance policy includes an exception for restrictive covenants. What does this exception mean for the insured? A. The property must be developed according to the restrictive covenants. B. The title company will not cover any losses related to violations of the restrictive covenants. C. The restrictive covenants are automatically removed from the property. D. The title company guarantees that the restrictive covenants are no longer enforceable. Answer B. Explanation. An exception for restrictive covenants in a title policy means the title insurance company will not cover losses related to violations of those covenants. It is the responsibility of the property owner to comply with any restrictions. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, restrictive covenants can limit the use or development of property, and title policies typically exclude coverage for such restrictions. Question 29. Which of the following types of properties typically requires an ALTA 13.1 leasehold endorsement in Mississippi? A. Residential property. B. Commercial property with tenants. C. Vacant land. D. Properties subject to an oil and gas lease. Answer B. Explanation. The ALTA 13.1 leasehold endorsement is commonly used in commercial property transactions where the property has tenants. This endorsement provides coverage for the lessee's leasehold interest, protecting against defects in the lease. Relevant rule. In Mississippi, leasehold interests in commercial properties can be insured using this endorsement, ensuring that tenants are protected from claims that could affect their right to occupy the property. Question 30 scenario. A Mississippi buyer discovers that part of the property they are purchasing has been adversely possessed by a neighbor for the past 20 years. What impact does this have on the title insurance? A. The title insurance will automatically cover the adverse possession claim. B. The buyer can cancel the purchase agreement and walk away. C. The title insurer will investigate and may exclude coverage for the affected area. D. The title insurance will increase in cost to cover the risk. Answer C. Explanation. In cases of adverse possession, the title insurer will investigate the claim. If the neighbor's claim is valid, the title insurance policy may exclude coverage for the adversely possessed portion of the property. Relevant rule. Mississippi law allows claims of adverse possession if the neighbor has continuously occupied the land for 10 years. This can complicate property transactions and affect title insurance coverage.